method of the subconscious reading every day, and I became friends with the Quran. And I even got online and signed up with Imam Salim Mukhi's class. You know. But I was scared at first. I said, well, that was the object. All I'm trying to do is release those fears. You know. Some are going to respond to it right away. Some say I'm doing a little bit fine. You know. But do it every day. Now, I have to get because I love giving you this information because I'm removing la rayba fi, the doubts. The doubts. That's what, you know, that's the biggest challenge right now. You know, God said, why would you think that he would say, this is the book, in it is no doubt. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. This is the book, there's no doubt, and it's a guide for the muttaqin. Why do you think that begins that chapter like that? Because in the previous chapter called Al-Fatiha, you said what? You know, Mustaqim, right? Guide us where? In the straight way. So you turn the page. As soon as you turn the page, okay, here's the guidance that you asked for. This is the book. In it is the guidance. Ain't no doubt in it. But you got to do what? الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون. Those who believe in the invisible, the unseen, and establish what? Devotional obedience. They call it prayer. Be devoted. ومما رزقناهم ينفقون. And they spend from what God has provided them with. Now the question is, you think I'm going to take up a collection right now. As soon as I mention spending, you start holding on to your pocket. I know it. I ain't got that much. I know it's getting to that time. Let me see. I got to go to the bathroom. That mind started working. In the old days, we just had the officer at the door. You couldn't get out. You was coming up with something. All right, here's my point. Yunfikun. Razaqnahum yunfikun. What Allah has provided for you. Well, how are you spending your heart? How do you spend your eyes? How do you spend your time? Are you wasting it? Everything you got, God gave to you to spend. Are you spending it for God? Or are you spending it for Shaitan? Can you spend 2 hours watching a football game, an NFL game, and you only spend 2 minutes picking up your Quran and go? I can't hardly make it through, brother, man. I tried. I fell asleep. But that game. Oh man, you see that? Woo! That's a hell of a catch, wasn't it? Enthusiastic and everything. I know I'm stepping on toes. Stepping on mine too. Or you can spend that time listening to your favorite record. I don't even have records no more, CDs. But like one brother told me one. He got this new program, this new computer program. His brother, remember, I spent 7 hours in front of the computer. I loaded and I got working it. I said, you spent 7 hours in front of a computer, bro? I just shook my head and I said, if I'm going to spend that kind of time, it's going to be 7 hours in front of the Quran. That's what I told you, just like that. Well, you know, I had to download and do this. I don't care. You ain't going to get me to sit in front of nobody's computer for 7 hours. Not being paid either, just trying to install a program. Now, if I was a computer person at a job, okay, that's my job. And I'm being paid for being paid. But look at the wasted time. And God says in Quran, and the wasters, the spendthrift, are the brothers of the devil. So you just now got a new running buddy. So how are you spending this valuable life? Because you didn't make the life up yourself. God gave you the life you got. Are you spending it for God? So it says, الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. Those who believe in the unseen. Bil-ghayb is that which you can't perceive with your sensibility. You just have to trust it. You just have to believe. You have to believe in God so much. God, I hear what this man is saying tonight. God said, I mean, you can call me curator, I don't care what you're going to. But we got these Quran, and I know it's your revealed book. And he said, I can read it like this. No. God said you can read it. He told Muhammad to read, right? And Muhammad said what? I can. Okay. Read the book. I don't know how. But he put pressure on it. He squeezed it. He shook, but he didn't fall. And he began to read this book. Now, we travel with these books. I ordered some of them from India. That's where they come out of. Because it's a beautiful Quran, well made, and it's color coded. And we call it manzil. Manzil is 1/7 of the Quran. If you read a manzil a day, by the end of the week you read the Quran, right? Because it's how many days in a week? 7 days. It's 7 elevation that Muhammad the Prophet went on. 7 is a great number. But if you can't start with a 7, start with a 30th. You know what a 30th is, right? You read it during Ramadan. If you can't start with a 30th, start with a chapter. If you can't start with a chapter, just do 1 page, 2 pages. Now, I'm going to show you something. And I've been doing this now for a few years, encouraging people to read the Quran. You know, when you take your finger like this, just like this, or you do it like this. Now, first of all, you see this Quran? Can you see this page? Now, soon as you look at this page, let's say this, soon as you look at this page, your mind has already photographed it. They got, if you go online right now, you know, somebody called me and told me about this. I didn't even know it existed. They call it photo reading. Photo reading. They have a course called photo reading, where you photograph the page that you're reading with the man. Click. They got people reading just like this. Click, click, click. Now, first of all, you're going to say, that's impossible. Well, you're going to have a hard time getting started. Because you have trouble believing the power of the mind. That's why I try to pull a whole lot of illustrations. You know, do you have to use your GPS to get home every day? Now, before they had GPS, could you find yourself home? All of a sudden, let me turn, before I leave, let me turn my GPS on. Let me turn my handicap on. Okay, I'm ready to go. You know, and then some woman telling you what to do. Sometimes she messes up too. Now, if I ask you to trust the GPS that Allah put in you, what's that? So you can get home. Let me give you another quote of Imam Muhammad. Imam Muhammad said, understanding is the home of the mind. He said, you are not at home until you understand. Think about it. Understanding is the home of the mind. You are not at home until you understand. Give you an example. You ever seen something, a person that you thought you knew? You're with your wife, you're with your husband, you say, I know that person. You know. And your mind go in that geek, flipping pages. Can't come up with the name. Okay. Here it is. 2 o'clock in the morning. You know what? What's wrong, baby? What's wrong? That was Barbara Jenkins. What are you talking about? Barbara Jenkins, you know? We went to school together. And Mama, you used to like him. You should remember. Now that thing bothered her mind until it came to an understanding. And then she went right to bed. That's just one example. But you have your own example. What's happening in the mind? The mind is not satisfied until it comes to an understanding. So right now the mind is being oppressed because it is not understanding. It's confused. It's being dominated by words it don't understand. It's been lied to, corrupted, and etc. It's got Santa Claus in there, Jingle Bells in there, Dashing Through the Snow in there, Tinkerbell, all kind of cartoons, all kind of Matrix movies, and everything in it. Just all kind of fantasies that's in there that make you think about this. And then you can't think because you don't know the methodology for thinking or what's going on in the world. So they have done an excellent job of confusing humanity. You don't even like a person because they're white. You don't like a person because they're black. Or you don't like them because they're overweight. You just don't like nothing. Who got us in this shape? The devil himself. Quranic therapy now is this reading program. So now, if you take a picture, anybody ever take a picture in photography? After you take the picture, what you do with it? Huh? You have to develop it, right? If you don't develop it, it's going to stay in the canister. Now, if you ever worked in a darkroom, I used to work at Muhammad Speaks newspaper. I used to be the camera room supervisor. And we used to have to develop, we had 3 things to put the film in, these big films we developed in infrared darkroom. You put it in the developer. Once you see that it's developed, you follow your scale there. You put it in the stop fix. It stops the development immediately. Or the stop bag. And then you put it in the fixer. And then the fixer calls all of the other things that come out of it. And then you put it through the dryer. Well, the same thing. If your husband, or you want to plant grass in your front yard, and you plant the seeds, you throw out there and put the seeds in the ground, or a garden, do you go out the next day to see if you got vegetables? What has happened? I planted the seeds. Where my tomatoes? Where my corn? Why I gotta wait? It's got to develop, right? Where's developing at? Under what? You mean like the subconscious? Down below? In the dark? Well, ain't nothing happening. Why you know ain't nothing happening? Because I don't see nothing. You waiting for stuff to jump up out the ground in a way that you ain't gonna see nothing. See, right? You want to see right away. Been wasting 20 years not picking up the Quran. Now all of a sudden, you pick it up. I'm going to try that method and see if it works. Not even 30 days. 30 minutes. I ain't getting nothing. And too scared to call me and tell me, well, brother Imam, I tried that for 30 minutes and then nothing happened with me. What the hell do you expect to happen? You've been oppressed for 30 years and you spend 30 minutes. You got to build a habit. A habit. I know I'm in trouble. Here's the ground. Here's the seeds. They're all planted up under the ground that you planted. The ground is a darkness that's oppressing it, right? But it's a good oppression. Imam Ahmed said this one time. He said, have you ever seen a grass, a blade of grass, or a plant growing up out of concrete or between the concrete? He said, think about that for a moment. When you go out again, you walk down the street, you see that grass coming up out of the concrete, out of the street. How did that thing come up from under that concrete? He said, that's a seed that had a determination, even though it was under pressure, buried up under the ground in the dark. The seed had a nature to seek the light. And it pushed. And it just kept pushing. Because it was obeying its Lord that it's created in. And it's dead. The seed is dead. But it needs light. And it kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And then one day, grass is growing up out between the concrete. Out of the concrete. And he said, you know how many thousands of pounds of pressure is on that little bitty seed? And that little bitty seed, because it wanted the light of its Lord that it was created for, burst up out the concrete and began to be grass again. And he said, and you, the human being sitting around whining because you got a little pressure on you. If you have faith in God, you can break up out of that pressure and begin to see the light and grow into what he has designed for you to be. These are concepts that our leader gave us many times. I know you probably heard it, but you probably sleep during that time. One time I got to go to the Ramadan, when I was in the Ramadan session one day, I got up to walk out there, I seen people. I said, man, do they know who's teaching right now? Man, it's over here snowing. Wasn't for me at that time. Maybe he had a hard night. I don't know. What is my point here? Things got to develop in the dark. And sometimes with pressure. I can give you more proof of it. You know the chapter Walasa? It's called what? The token of what? Time through the age. And it begins Walasa. By the time. Inna al insana lafi khusr. Surely the human being is what? Lost. What human being is that? You ever think about that? What human being is lost? You know you lose your keys, you lose your shoes, sometimes you lose your child in the mall or something. You got a lost and found. Sometimes you lose things. We lost a lot of 310 years of chattel slavery. We lost a lot that we didn't get. In fact, Imam Muhammad said we lost so much, and when they released us into freedom, we didn't get the proper therapy. They did that wrong. That's what's wrong with us today. We were never given therapy, therapeutic things that show why we were done like this. And given the steps, you got a Freedmen's Bank and they took that. Dr. Zaid in Washington, D.C., he wrote some books, some of you know him. He was just telling me that his great-great-grandmother was 16 years old when freedom came. And they were happy to leave that plantation. And said what happened was, they got ready to go, and they told them, you can leave. This slave man told me, you can leave, but you can't take nothing with you. You can't take them clothes I bought. You can't take this. But I tell you what, if you want what you got here, you work for me for another year, and you can get it. But in that year, they began to work some more. Then they had to pay food. They had to stay there years more. So they didn't want you to leave in. So think about your mind that wants to be free. You think that right away said, we're just going to give you education? Hell, you had to fight for it. Mega Edwards was shot. I mean, go through the history. Segregation, all that. Even after you gave them 300 years of free labor, they wouldn't even give you an education. Told you they're going to give you 40 acres in the mule. We still waiting on that. Let me tell you something. I'm not doing this to incite anything. Except get this Quran. Really free yourself. Go into your mind. Trust Allah more than you trust yourself or those doubts that's plaguing yourself. Well, I'm going to see what's going on. I got to see what this is all about. I'm not hard on you. I just have a passion for you to get this book, to pick it up every day. You pick up the Quran every day and put the seeds in. See, what happens is, when you pick this up like this, you're photographing this page first of all. But the movement of the hand is giving a conscious effort. A conscious effort. You know, and don't be trying to read. You know, I read Arabic. I can read the Arabic. You know, آتينا إبراهيم على قومه نرفع درجات من يشاء. Now, I'm reading that. I can translate it. You see, but when I first started doing the subconscious reading, that used to get in my way. Because my goal was to read a 30th and then a manzil every day. But I had a class called subconscious class. So when my conscious class started getting in the way, I would tell her, I said, hold it, buddy. QA, listen up. This is me talking to me. Hold it, QA. This ain't your class. This is the subconscious reading class. Let the boy do his job. Your class is later on. But I had a class for him, and we got him in here. So I got in the habit. Every time my conscious mind started interfering, wow, man, look at this, it's deep. I started seeing vocabulary words, different things like that. I had to discipline myself to go straight down until I finished my manzil, my 1-7. Then I could go back and begin to work a certain thing. You know, now this is one of the Qurans that we have in the Brother said. And this is my manzil Quran. Now you see, I got all kind of tabs. But I be going, and I got in the habit of putting my tabs in there. You know, when I ran there, I said, well, I got to come back and get that. And I drop it right there. I keep going. And then I'll come back and study. You know, because I'm an avid reader of this book. Every day, it has to be read. I have to have a relationship with the Quran. That's what you got to do. Pick it up every day. Now, what happened is, you're dressing your mind with words. Now, if you don't believe in God, that God can speak to you, why do you think you up right now? Who gets you up in the morning? When you go to sleep, who causes you to go to sleep? That fatigue factor. You go to sleep, and God wake you up. Now, if you can trust Him to put you to sleep, put you to bed, and wake you up, why can't you trust Him to wake your mind up that's not being used properly? That's all I'm saying. You pick this book up every day. Every day. It's not going to... And then here's this question that I asked him. Some of you heard me answer the Molly conference and others. I asked you, now, to do what I'm telling you to do, let me ask you one question. What you got to lose? Just tell me. What threatens you? All right, what do you have to gain? Oh, you can't even estimate what you got to gain. You can't estimate the power of God. There's no estimating Him. He has power over everything. Why don't you think that God has power over the mind that got confused in one of the universities? Okay. I'm going to have to stop. You know why? My wife told me to do one CD and get out of there. Do you think I can go a little bit longer than I did? Thank you. She know I'm tired. I've been up long. But see, I told her, when I start teaching, I don't get tired no more. I got up at 3:30 this morning. No, I didn't go to bed until 3:30. I almost missed my flight getting here doing that too. Allah was with me. Allah was with me. I got to the airport this morning with 8 minutes before they do the shut-off. You know, there's a long line inside. I ran, I said, can I check in out here? He said, do you have any baggage? I said, no, I ain't got no baggage. So he went and said, come on. He took me inside. Took me to the lady. He said, he needs to get on this flight. She went on there, got my tickets, just in the nick of time. You know, I got upstairs, you know, got to the trolley there, we got a ride over there, you know, gave him a ticket and, you know, next double check. Now, notice now, what's happening with me, this is another beautiful thing. You know, I don't know how many of you been with, what is it, Homeland Security? When I went to get my license renewed, Homeland Security cleared me. They even put a star on my license. I don't know if y'all had it. Y'all been cleared by Homeland Security. Because as my wife tell you, I used to be tied up at the airport all the time. Excuse me, we got to. One sister told me once, she said, "Why don't you just change your name?" I was in Philadelphia. She said, "Why don't you just change your name?" I said, "Girl, do you know how long it took me to work for this name?" You know, now they gonna change before I change his name. Anyway, make a long story short, Allah blessed me to get to the plane, get on board, everything. I was there with time to spare. Now that was a blessing. I knew Allah was with me. What is my point here? I want you to take your Quran, this Menziel Quran we call it, and begin to read every day. Don't worry right now about what you understand. See that little baby going out of here right now? These little babies right now? They don't be worried about, you ain't be worried about whether they understand anything. They're reading the word. Next thing you know, they're saying, "Mama, that. Me want to go too." They start talking to them. Oh, he said some words. But you didn't send them to word class. God is still working with them. What I'm telling you is that you have an ability. I'm trying to introduce you to an ability. That's why I told you this book called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. When you read it, one person got that book and they went, "Brother Imam, you need to promote this book all around the country." They were just so excited. I said, "Yeah, it's a good book, but it's not better than the book that I'm trying to get you to read." Oh yeah, this one here. Yeah. Now you might say, "Well, why can't we just do the English Arabic?" See, you want to do this question. Why can't we do the my English Arabic? You can do that. Don't get me wrong. You can do that, but you want to get in the habit of picking up Arabic every day. The Arabic itself is going to introduce itself to you. You're going to begin to build a confidence that you never thought you had. You know, I got stories I can tell you and I tell these people to email me their testimony. That's what I'm trying to do now. You know, my brother told me out of Atlanta. He told me he was at a family reunion and he was in the hotel and he was dreaming. And he said he was in a dream and he was arguing with his ex-wife. You know. And he said, "Brother man, we used to have some real violent arguments." And he said, "I'm dreaming and I'm in an argument with her." And he said, "And I stood up and spoke to her in perfect Arabic." He said, "Now I don't know a nigga Arabic, but I'm seeing myself in the dream talking to her in Arabic." And she sat there and listened, like she understood it. So he said, "What do you think about that?" I said, "I think that's very possible." Why? Do you know they have hypnotized people? And these people start speaking another language, ancient Greek and etc. Perfect language. And when they come out of their hypnotism, they don't know what they say. So you don't know what your mind has been exposed to. Dr. C.R. Lincoln, he said, the African American gravitates toward Islam as if they had a what? Islamic memory gene. You heard, I know you students of Imam Muhammad heard when he talked about this. He said, "Man, I heard this man." He said, "This is a Christian professor, minister." when he said that perked up in me. He said, man, look how God rewarded that man to recognize what our problem is. Then he said, we have what is in an Islamic memory gene. You have in you right now deoxyribonucleic acid. They call it DNA. It's been educated in the school of DNA by God. It knows what to do. Does everything. Every cell in your body knows what to do. You study cytology, the study of cells when you're in school, biology and etc. Are those some smart cells? They know what they're doing. Well, who taught them? They were educated by God. Every cell in your being been educated by God. Even your brain cells went to brain scale school with God. When he assimilated your brain cells. I'm just giving you philosophical thinking right now. Don't be afraid to think. Every part of your being, your physical, mental, spiritual, moral, has been educated by its creator. Now, if it's been educated by its creator in that form, where it's helping you out every day, they make you want to eat, make you want to go to sleep, make you want to go to the bathroom. You know, somebody say, I got to call to nature. Why you call to nature? But you better get up out of here. Because it's natural. I don't care how ugly a person might think it is, it's natural. It's a call to what? Nature. Do you know your reading ability, your observational ability, your study ability of the creation is a call to nature? I mentioned today in Jummah, Imam Muhammad said that we should marry the what? The creation. I'm just trying to see if you listened to the Jummah today. And if you didn't, I got to take some CD. That was a commercial. So here now is your call to what is natural in you, called Hanif, to befriend the Quran. And all this time I've been standing up talking to you, it's been for that one purpose. That you will pick this book up and trust that part of your mind called subconscious mind. Make friends with the Quran. Make a covenant with the Quran. And begin to internalize it through that method. Now, does that preclude the fact that you can read it other ways? No. If you look, I hope this is in your jacket here. Right here, this chart right here. You see this? Did you put this in there? On this chart here are 11 studies or 11 classes. The first one is called the subconscious reading, right? You see it? It has an objective, a procedure, and an explanation. Then you have conscious reading. It has an objective, procedure, explanation. Reading for fluency, or fluency reading. Reading for vocabulary. Reading comprehension. Now, why not I break these up into that? Because people on different levels and at different times you're going to be doing different studies. Every study that you do with the Quran becomes a class. When you do your subconscious reading class, what are you supposed to do in that class? Anybody, just tell me. Speak out.
Read to yourself.
Read with what part of your mind? If your conscious mind interferes, what are you going to tell it? Get back. It's not. Get out of this class. Excuse me. You're in the wrong class. You know, if you ever been to teach somebody walking, may I help you? I'm looking for Mr. Rogers' class. Oh, that's a math class. You go down the hall and make a left. The first room on the left. This is English. What do? He walk down, go down there, and make a left, and he's in Mr. Rogers' class. And he go in there and learn some math. But he ain't going to learn no math here because this is the English class. Okay, your subconscious reading class, when you take on that, you say, okay, I am doing. When you get up in the morning or whatever time you're going to do it, I am doing my what kind of reading? Subconscious reading. So you go through it. Go down. Trust your mind. Trust, and then pray to Allah, please bless me to use the mind that you gave me to serve you. You understand? Ask Allah to bless you. And turn the page until you finish that color. You know, now you don't have to do a manzil. But I have what is called the manzil club. People say, what is that? It's the people who vow is doing a manzil every day. There's several around the country now that's reading the Quran once a week, every week. And then Allah says in the Quran. And after you finish your immediate task, do what? Still labor hard. Get back on it. Because look, you got to keep going at it. Keep going at it. And you're going to begin to see, you will call me up. Buddy, man, alhamdulillah. May Allah continue to bless you. And I always say, just pray for me, brother, please. Sister, pray for me. And buy more CDs. That's another commercial. Alright, so now, I'm going to do my conscious reading now. So I say, I'm consciously saying, إِنَّهُ لَا يُفْلِحُ الْمُجْرَمِينَ وَيَعْبُدُونَ مِنْ دُونِهِ اللَّهِ مَا لَا يُضُرُّهُمْ وَلَا يُنْفَعُهُمْ وَيَقُولُونَ هَؤُلَاءِ. See, now I'm reading. Now you say, well, Brother Imam, I'm not to that level, but you can get there. You can get there. See, this is the beginning. Every journey begins with one step, right? All right, now, the next thing, fluency reading. So say I'm saying, إِنَّهُ لَا يُفْلِحُ. Say them like that. Now, I want to take one sentence and work with reading it fluently. You know, it may be a verse, a chapter in the Quran. How many have learned different chapters, small chapters? All right. You learned that chapter. You want to make it perfect. You see, say you learn Qul Huwa Allahu Ahad. All right, that chapter. Well, you work on that chapter to do it fluent. The next thing in that chapter, you want to know its vocabulary. Vocabulary reading. When you see it, Qul. What does Qul mean? So you know that already. Qul Huwa Allahu Ahad. Say He, Allah is one. But you may go to another one. For instance, have you ever been impatient? All of you have been patient all your life, right? There's an ayat. It's 2:47. It says, وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ وَإِنَّهَا لَكَبِيرَةٌ إِلَّا عَلَى الْخَاشِعِينَ. Seek assistance through patience and prayer. It's a difficult thing to do except for those who humble themselves to God. Now sometimes you need it. Said brothers, you need it. Sisters, you need it. When husband and wife start conflicting, sometimes you have to say, they start going, yeah. I say to myself, I have to say it and then translate it. You know, or I'm gonna tell you one time, this happened to me when I was living in Miami. I went to the DMV to get my plates. I get in line, and she tells me that I need to get the mileage off the car. I forgot what she. I said the mileage off the car. I'm waiting in this long line and stuff. She said, the car here? I said, yes, ma'am. Why don't you just run out there and get it and come back in? I said, but she said, just come, when you come back in, just come right up to the front door. I'll remember you. I said, okay. I run down, I'm going to get the mileage off the car. I come back in, get up front. While I'm waiting in line for one person, then I'm waiting up there. And then I hear this, man, who do you think he is? Nah. Then you run down there. Then somebody need to do something. They jump up in the line down there. And they just going on. You know, so I'm trying. I'm Bismillah. I'm being patient. And I go up there and I get my business taken out, and then I'll walk out. I'm in Miami, and I come out the line, and I looked at them and I said, "Wasta'inu bis-sabri was-salati wa innaha lakabiratun illa 'ala al-khashiyin." I say, seek assistance through patience and prayer. It is a difficult thing to do, except for those who humble themselves to God. And I walked on out. Now, but you ought to see the fear in their mind. Because there's a voodoo town too. They probably thought I was putting X on them. I thought about that. I thought I put an X on them. But I did. I said, what's Taino? And I thought about it later on. I said to myself, they probably thought I did a voodoo. But it gave me a chance to practice my ayat. I throwed down with it. I said it in Arabic. I translated it, and I left the message. What I'm saying to you, you may see an ayat in English, and it'll jump out and grab you like that. That's for you. Learn it. But I thought we had to learn the whole chapter. You can learn one sentence. In chapter Quran, in the Quran, inna ladina yu'minuna bil ghaib. No, that's not the one. Trying to think of the verse, the sentence. Surely the prayer for the believers is a stated exact time. Inna salata kanat ala al-mu'minina kitabin mawqut. Now this is a sentence in this verse, chapter 4, 103. It's the last sentence in the verse. But it deals with Inna salata kanat ala al-mu'minina kitabin mawqut. Now one time I was having problems with Satan always tapping me on my shoulder telling me that, you can do the prayer later on, don't worry about it. Thank you, Satan. Now, don't tell me Satan ain't came to you. I'll tell you to come from that way. Like you so holy right now. So Allah blessed me one day when I'm reading the Quran, and see, if you're not reading the Quran on a regular basis, you won't get these signals. So Allah, I said, wow. Next time Satan come and try to give me some advice, I'm going to throw that down. And soon, he come right away. He wasn't prepared for me. Tapping on my shoulder. And and George said, you got plenty of time. Inna salata kana ala mu'minina kitabin mawqut. He jumped and shot out. I said, surely the prayer is established for the believer at exact stated time. He got on up out of that. Now I don't know whether you battle with Satan like I do. You might just be a part of his camp, I don't know. And you ain't got to worry about it. But for the person who's trying to serve God, he always trying to bug you. Am I right or wrong? Anybody know? If you're trying to live for God, Satan is after you every day, every second, every minute. He's going to make you argue with your wife, your children. He's going to make you curse. You're going to come out of your form. You're going to be feeling bad. Why did I do that? Oh, please forgive me. I sure didn't mean it. But that doggone Satan. Don't be like Flip Wilson. The devil made me do it. Okay, so that's another methodology. And I'm sharing these with you. So reading comprehension is also developed when you begin to read and study like this. Now, look at reading and writing. How many of us have memorized Al-Fatiha? You know it? How many of you can write it by heart? Okay, if you can't, that's a project for you. Do you think Qasim Ahmed just go right up to the wall and start writing Arabic and stuff like that? I never studied overseas. Never been there, not one time, to study anything. Everything I've learned was from this community and in this community. Well, I am. I'm telling you. And I've had people come in, Imam, did you study in Medina or Al-Azhar or Mecca? Where did you learn? Because they can't perceive in your mind that you can learn outside of that. Well, Allah is God every place. I don't know whether you knew that or not. Okay, well, He teaches how He wills when He will. And He can take you and make you what He wants you to be because He created you. All you have to do is surrender. Come out with your hands up. You're surrounded. Just surrender. And see what happens. Have faith in God and see what happens. So reading for grammatical knowledge, those of you a little more advanced, you can read for grammar. Reading for tafsir, explanation, understanding. Reading for translation, being able to translate, and reading to memorize. Now, one of the things I did this past Ramadan, I worked on memorizing several different ayats with application. You understand what I'm saying? You know, so you take that, when you take an ayat and memorize it, think with it. You know, it's Arabic and it's English. It's in you now. You understand what I'm saying? It's in you. And when you think on it, even Al-Fatiha, you know Al-Fatiha, but once you memorize it, being able to read it, you know its vocabulary, those words begin to work on you like vitamins. Medicine. Because the Quran is called a shifaa wa rahmah. A shifaa wa rahmah. A healing and a mercy. Don't you know it will heal your mind of words that are attacking you now? But you got to believe. I'm telling you. And you become a better person. I've seen husband and wife teams who have begun to read the Quran together. They say, "But man, me and my wife don't fight no more. We be talking that Quran." I always tell me. He said, we couldn't go a day without an argument. Now we spend more time reading and studying the Quran. It's not me that did it. It's the Quran that's doing it. It's Allah. They're studying Allah's word and they begin to hear. Trust the Quran. I can just go on with so many examples. But believe me, you have to believe in Allah first. Believe in the Quran. Believe in the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You know, the Prophet, he said, "Taraktum fikum ma in tamassaktum bihi ma lan tadillu abada kitabullahi wa sunnati." That I have left with you two things. That if you take the word tamassaktum, that if you cling to it, lan tadillu abada, you will never go astray. It is the Kitabullah, the book of Allah, wa sunnati, and my sunnah. Now listen to this. It says, tamassaktum. You know, tamassaktum is from the word mesaka. Let's say the word mesaka. You know what comes out of that word also? Musk. You know the perfume musk? You know the little Egyptian musk and thing. Alright, the mesaka is like also, musk comes out of it because it is the type of oil that when you put it on, it clings to your chemistry. Now, though it's the same smell in the bottle, guess what? When it touches you, it becomes slightly different. You understand? Now, what is the connection to that? The connection to that is that the Quran, though it is the same book, when it touches your chemistry, what Allah has created in your chemistry and etc., it's going to influence you just slightly different. We're going to make prayers together, etc., but you're going to be something slightly different because the guidance of God in the Quran is going to affect you a little bit different. And you're going to do what God wants you to do because this affection has influence. It may be in engineering, it may be in math, it may be, I don't know what it is. Only Allah knows what He created you for. But you won't know what He created you for until you pray to Him and ask Him to guide you to what He made you for. And then after you find out and recognize, wow, I was made to be a teacher. Or Allah guide me to be able to do what I'm doing do that work because I'm doing something else. Now you're not asking Qasim Ahmed, you're not asking W.D. Mom, you're not asking anybody, you're not going to shake so-and-so. Yeah, Sheikh, tell me what should I be? Well, hell, I didn't create you, so go ask God. That's what the Sheikh should tell you. So you go to Allah. You can go to Him tonight. You can wake up at Tahajjud. Does anybody call you and wake you up for Tahajjud prayer? You got to get up for yourself, don't you? You know. Now, have you ever woke up in the middle of the night and it's totally quiet, and you feel that you should pray, and then you don't do it, and then when you wake up next morning you feel bad? See, there's something in your soul that may be disturbing you or bothering you, and God say, I woke you up because I want you to go out there and make a few rakats. Go pray to me. I know you felt it. I have. I've woken up and I'll be laying sleeping, and my eyes come straight open. And I started thinking, I said, I got to get up and pray. I looked at the clock. I said, it's 3:05. I'll go ahead and make wudu. My wife said, what do you want? I said, I'm going to make Tahajjud prayer. Oh, wait for me. I'm going to join you. You know, now I know some of you, and sisters, you might wake up. Where you going? I'm going to make prayer. All right, don't pray too loud. I'm joking. Let me tell you something. Once you begin to interact with this Quran on a regular basis, this other part of you, that subconscious mind of you, is going to begin to dominate your thinking and influence it. Just like what's dominating now. Many of us are dominated by what's fed to the subconscious and you don't even know it. Because you didn't know when it got in there. This way you got control of putting it in there every day. Every day, just think. Every day you can put some Quran in your mind. Every day. Consciously you pick up your book and you go and do a few pages. You know, you read it. Well, buddy, man. And you know what I mean? I'm not seeing it. Don't worry, the Quran is seeing you. It's more powerful than you. Just because you got it in your hand, picked it up and etc., don't mean you ain't in control of it. But what happened is your consciousness that you're doing it is giving you a relationship with the subconscious. You understand what I'm saying? You're trying to build a relationship with a part of your mind that's been neglected. And who's been neglected? You. It ain't mine, it's yours. But remember, there are people who are already after your mind. They want it. They need it. Because it's very valuable. And they got all kinds of methods. Look at these youth today. They consumed by these video games. You look at some of these cartoons they got on now, they cuss, everything. What's up with you, chump? I'll whoop your so-and-so. Right on TV. I was walking around. I said, what the hell is that's on? Made me cuss. Turn that stuff off. But then, I said, turn it off. I was going to do one of them things with Imam W.D. Muhammad. I know y'all never heard this. But one time he said, this when he was a welder. You know, when he was Wallace. He said, I go to work, guys, and I come home, and I come in one day, every time I come in, you give me the greetings. Assalamu alaikum. He in front of the TV. You know, anybody heard that? So he said one time, he said, this TV is taking over my home. You know what he did? He busted it right in front of everybody. Shocked everybody. He said, now that ain't the method to do all the time. He said, but, you know, she just was fed up. He said, another time, he said, Shirley, she was just talking, and he said, you know, I didn't want to hit her. You know, he said, so what I did, he said, I went over in the kitchen, and she was in the kitchen, and he said, and I took that refrigerator and said, pulled it out, and I put it back. And she looked at it. He said, "He got the message home." So I could snatch the TV, the refrigerator off the wall and put it right back there. I tried that one time too. What am I saying? The Quran has the power to transform your thinking. Give yourself a chance. This workshop that I do is like I said, an appetizer. You know, but it's beginning for you to encourage you, to give you the impetus and the strength that I'm going to do that. That's what, if nothing else happens tonight, that's what I want you to do. I'm going to do that. Because you can do it, number one. You don't have to go to Arabic class. All you have to do is go to your subconscious reading class. And you will be surprised what you already know, what you already see. But it's going to build a confidence up and a friendship up with a book that you say you already believe in. So that's why we call it How to Make the Quran User-Friendly. The subconscious, the internalization of the Quran through subconscious reading. As I mentioned to you earlier, those of you who have computers, go online and do subconscious things online. You'll see. I didn't know all these things existed, but they got all kinds of subconscious methodologies. People are studying, they've been studying. Freeing their mind up from being oppressed. Allah has given us the best technique right here with the Quran. Now, I'm going to stop here. Any questions? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, the book, you want to know how much? These are $20. How many will we bring that here?
Probably about 20.
Yeah. How many? 20. We brought 20 of these. If you look at this, I don't know if you've seen it. You can pass it around. But they're heavy. They're heavy. They're real nice quality. They're heavy. We had the big one. Let me see you. Let me see you.
We have one big one
See,
left.
but we only had 2 of these. Now this is one. But this is for those of us. These are nice.